What do I expect? I expect that Bitcoin, if it doubles every year at the end of the decade, it will flip gold, and then it'll flip monetary indexes, a little bit of bonds, a little bit of real estate, a little bit of equity, and emerges as a $100 trillion asset class. So 100x where it is right now. And when we get there, it'll be 5 to 7% of the worldwide economy. The US dollar will probably replace 150 currencies. Maybe there'll only be 2 or 3 left. There might be the euro, the CNY, the dollar. Everything else is probably going to disappear. And then Bitcoin will be the world's monetary index. We're going to keep stacking forever, Joe, forever. Yeah, the issue is crypto's going mainstream. You know, we hit all-time highs last week, and now there's volatility. Inflation's gone mainstream. And so what's causing the volatility? The volatility is driven by exchange leverage, the altcoins, some security tokens, DeFi, wash trading, the novelty of crypto, and the excessive growth, right? And that doesn't surprise me. I think people have been waiting for clarity from regulators, and over the past month, we got a lot of clarity. The report on stablecoin is telling the world that they want stablecoins issued by FDIC-insured banks. The Crenshaw report is telling the world that DeFi as we know it will not continue. The spot ETF denial report is telling the world that the regulators want crypto exchanges to meet national securities exchange rule and standards. And the infrastructure bill is putting into question staking and DeFi. Now, there's one thing that's for certain, Joe. The world wants 2 things. The world wants a digital dollar, US dollar, and they don't want 100 billion of it. They want 10 trillion of it or 20 trillion. The Chinese want it. The Africans want it. The Asians want it. They want it from an FDIC-insured bank or like. And the world wants a digital asset that's a store of value, and Bitcoin is universally accepted as that common property store of value. So those 2 things are clear. Everything else is murky. The market's trying to sort out what all this means. There's a war. Yeah, there's a war for non-sovereign bearer instrument store of value. And it's Bitcoin versus silver and gold. And gold's 10 trillion and Bitcoin is 1 trillion. And it's pretty clear that Bitcoin is winning. Gold is losing. Of all the commodities in the world, the only one that isn't suffering from inflation in the last 12 months is gold. You want to eliminate inflation, build everything with 24-karat gold. It won't go up in price. Bitcoin's definitely winning that struggle, and it's going to continue because you can move $1 billion block of digital gold at the speed of light. You can program it 60 times a second, and the maintenance cost is much lower. The custodial rates are much higher. So it's pretty clear that digital gold is going to replace gold this decade. You know, I'm not at all trouble with any of the regulation going on right now. The safe haven for institutions is to use Bitcoin as a store of value. Bitcoin's the only ethical, technical, and legal safe haven in the entire crypto ecosystem, right? It's more technically secure because of the ASICs and the proof of work mining. It's more politically secure because of the support for the miners by the politicians in every jurisdiction. It's more ethically secure because it is universally acknowledged as common property.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
So if your use case is to buy $1 billion of Bitcoin and hold it forever in lieu of gold or in lieu of property or in lieu of a stock portfolio, without all the risks of stocks and equities and bonds and all the headaches of precious metals, then Bitcoin meets that use case. All of the sound and fury in Washington is going to have an impact on security tokens, DeFi exchanges, crypto exchanges, all the other use cases of crypto that are not Bitcoin. And that's where we'll see all of this settle. And that's why there's volatility right now. The big idea is every currency in the world collapses into the US dollar stable coin, and the US dollar is the universal medium of exchange for the world. And people seeking a long-dated store of value asset, a synthetic asset, they start to demonetize that second investment property, and they demonetize gold, and they demonetize an equity index. So what do I expect? I expect that Bitcoin, if it doubles every year at the end of the decade, it will flip gold, and then it'll flip monetary indexes, a little bit of bonds, a little bit of real estate, a little bit of equity, and emerges as a $100 trillion asset class. So 100x where it is right now. And when we get there, it'll be 5 to 7% of the worldwide economy. The US dollar will probably replace 150 currencies. Maybe there'll only be 2 or 3 left. There might be the euro, the CNY, the dollar. Everything else is probably going to disappear. And then Bitcoin will be the world's monetary index. If you simply want to keep your money and you don't want to express a credit sentiment or an equity sentiment or some property or real estate sentiment.
And what if a country decides, either China, I don't know how China is going to react to that scenario, or even the United States? Is it unstoppable, or getting to that point you just described, does it depend on what happens with very powerful central governments?
I think Bitcoin is unstoppable as digital property. I think what you're going to see is 3 classes of countries. The communist countries that don't give you property rights won't, like North Korea or Cuba, won't let you own anything. They'll probably ban it. The countries that have weak currencies will have capital controls. They will let you own it, but they don't want you to exchange it or trade it. It's not illegal to own Bitcoin in China. They just don't want you moving billions of dollars out of their economy. You see a collapse of currencies like Argentina. The peso is 200 to 1. In Turkey, you see the lira is 11. It used to be 1.5 15 years ago. So the weak currencies will have capital controls. They'll let you own it as property. And of course, in the Western nations where they have strong currencies in the US dollar, of course, it's going to be deemed property. You'll pay capital gains tax on it when you sell it. And otherwise, it's pretty clear it crossed the chasm. It's universally acknowledged as common digital property. And it's the only crypto asset that has that standing. That's what makes it the institutional safe haven asset in this space.
Do you want to know one thing about crypto? I made over 3,000% in profit in a few weeks. Fact is, the traditional financial system, the traditional money system makes you poor, not rich. If you want to earn $500,000, $1 million, you have to wait until you're 50, 60, 70 in the traditional financial system, and you probably will still be broke. And you will be old. This is not a sexy combination, as you can imagine. But the question is, how can you start in crypto and make these profits? Where to invest? Where to start? My name is Gunnar and I'm from Germany, as you can hear, and things are a little bit different in Germany. More about that later on. Fact is, there are lots of different cryptocurrencies. It's a gigantic universe where beginners and professionals get easily lost. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are 7 key steps you need to follow to become successful in this market. You have to know them, and if you fail one of them, it's literally impossible to succeed in this market. Just an example, one of the key points is your exchange, and one of the biggest are, for example, Binance and Coinbase. These are trusted and well-established exchanges, but, and this is a big but, you won't find the super profitable coins on those exchanges. The unknown super profitable coins that get gigantic profits are not traded on those kind of exchanges. They are traded on much smaller insider platforms that are barely known. And I can tell you what those super secret exchanges are and why they are so profitable. And another super important thing are the right information sources. The point is, the internet is gigantic. There are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels, blogs, pages, and much, much more. And there are also market makers and influencers. For example, Elon Musk, he is not a crypto guy, but the moment he recommended Dogecoin, it went through the roof, to the moon, so to say. But why did he recommend it? Where did he hear it from? He didn't hear it from newspapers. And believe me, he is listening to someone. But you have to know who, and you have to react before he is reacting. This is really, really important. And these are only 2 of the 7 steps you have to follow in order to be successful in crypto. And if you want to know all of these steps in much more detail, and if you want to have a comprehensive checklist, here's what you should do. There is a link below this video. Click on this link and you will get the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Click on the link and you will see a video where I explain the next steps. So see you soon. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.